Hi, this is Jackie, your librarian here at Blue Mountain Community College, and this is another in a series of tutorials on how to embed links into your Canvas shell using some of our library resources. So I give you a quick overview of the resource and then show you how to permalink. And there's a couple on streaming media, one on opposing viewpoints, one on academic one file. This one is covering Academic Search Complete, which is an EBSCO database. Sometimes people use EBSCO and Academic Search Complete interchangeably. It's a little bit different. This will just be a quick overview. But I do like to start, as always, library homepage, which you get to by clicking on, starting at the college homepage, clicking on library, scrolling down to library databases, clicking on the top library databases, and here's Academic Search Complete. Academic Search Complete is, I guess, what I would call the most academic or rigorous of our databases. This is a database, especially if students are transferring out to a four-year university, they should probably really become familiar with this. Most libraries in the country have access to this database. And it's one of those where students really kind of, as you can see, kind of construct their search. It's that kind of old-fashioned, work with Boolean operators if you'd like. But they've modernized it a little bit. So, I did another search in a database on childhood obesity, so we might as well just stick with this. But, what's helpful, and this is kind of new, you can see it starting to say, well, do you mean children or do you mean a variation of that word? Because that can make a difference, and that can be really helpful for students thinking outside their search. Like, do you mean just children, or do you mean adolescents, or do you mean youth, or child, or teenager? But this can really help students, again, think through what there might be. Childhood obesity prevention, again, that comes up. So students could just do childhood obesity. They could add and prevention at this point. They could add and parents, or the and schools, or and physical activity and nutrition, whatever, or out and malnutrition or undernutrition, if they wanted to at this point. Or you can't even hit search at this point. You see all these filters here. If students do want to apply these now, they can. I always think it's I always think, did you see that emergency flash on the screen? We've had an emergency on campus that just ended. But I'm going to go ahead and click search here, because all those filters will be on the next screen too. And I think it's kind of better to let people see what they see and then decide. But, that everybody searches a little bit differently. So speaking of these filters, you don't lose your opportunity to scope down if you wanted to at this point, because we had 6,000 results. These are all pretty much academic. But some tools right away is that, again, you can limit to peer-reviewed. You can move forward in time. Maybe you want to really kind of cover this issue from the last, 7 years. And it should update automatically. Sometimes it doesn't do that. If you wanted to, you could limit to academic journals or magazines for those results. So, yeah, sometimes it doesn't always update like it should. It should have updated for us. There it goes. And we've reduced by 2,000 already. Some other features, again, you can narrow to type, and these subject terms can be helpful as well. So if you wanted to look specifically at just obesity within this topic, you could. If you wanted to look at obesity in children as a subject heading, you certainly could. These are a little bit more refined, where if you wanted to look specifically at the physiological aspects. If we clicked here, that would narrow us down to the 44 articles just on that topic. So it can really help you narrow things down to point out. Also under here, showing more. This sometimes just works more with alternate terms rather than a narrowing down. But again, prevention of obesity in children, very specific. If we updated that, that would take us down just to the 331 articles on this topic. You can see by the titles right away that these are definitely a little bit more intense as far as, when you start seeing systematic reviews and such, and meta-regressions, they're more academic resources. But I don't have to belabor that. One thing I will point out, actually, is, because this is a good opportunity, Academic Search Complete is kind of like this, I guess I would call it like the Fred Meyer or Walmart of databases. It has a bit of everything. If you find your students or you yourself are interested in a more specific topic, we do have more databases that are also EBSCO databases. But if you, say, wanted to focus on schools, ERIC is an education database. If you're an educator, you probably know that. you could click there to include that database in your search. If you wanted to include some of the health, consumer, or depending on how knowledgeable you are, you can do that. We also have some in Spanish, which is kind of cool. We have America Latina and Fuente Academica. So you could click OK there, and that would change your search. But we'd have to go back and start over again. Search. Okay, so let's do some of our filters again. Let's get just, again, forward in time. Obesity in children, I think it was up here under prevention of obesity in children. It's a little bit less actually because I went forward in time. So let's say we are interested in this topic right here. We'll click there, and that takes us to our article. Well, actually, it doesn't take us to our article. I lied. It takes us to a summary of the article. In fact, one of the questions I normally ask at this point is like, wait, how do I now get to the actual article? That is going to be usually over here in PDF or HTML format. Here's in PDF. Again, you can save that. You can link to it. But just to give you a little bit more information, this is from a journal called Pediatric Nursing. The article itself is 8 pages long. There's some images. There's all these subject headings that you might be interested in. If you're really actually looking a little bit more at food habits and obesity in children, if you clicked on food habits, it would take you to all the articles on food habits. And then if you wanted to, you could add children to that, or you could add childhood obesity to scope that down. But it helps kind of identify, because you could say food habits, you could also say maybe, I don't know, eating behaviors, or eating, what it tries to do is scope all the ways that that topic could be approached down to a collective similar term. So it gets at that concept. Again, if you're interested in obesity in children risk factors, you click there, it would take you to that. So on the right-hand side, similar to the Gale products, there's Google Drive. If you add to a folder, this is just a temporary folder, unless you do have an EBSCO account, which you can create just up here. Oops, move my screen up. Try to move my screen up by creating a folder. But I think more and more people are just using Google Drive. Similar to Gale, citation tools right here. It's a more academic database, so they're going to have more choices beyond just APA, MLA, and Chicago. But again, you would just scroll down alphabetically to the resource you wanted to use. And for permalink, pretty easy actually in EBSCO. Here's the permalink. You just click there, and there it is. You would just copy and paste that to put into your Canvas page. So if I bring up the Canvas page, same thing. I could have the citation here, childhood obesity. Highlight that and link to the URL, paste it, insert link. And that should work. And if it doesn't, let me know. It should work. There's a proxy server issue in there, so sometimes students might be prompted to add their library card number to get into that. It's one thing, but hopefully students are getting their library card anyway, and that was covered in another tutorial. So yeah, kind of it in a nutshell. Again, if you need help researching, doing searches, you want me to help your students with searching, it's becoming familiar with the tool, but it's strategizing, and I'm more than happy to help you your students with that at any time. So anyway, in a nutshell, that's permalinking, which was kind of the goal for these tutorials. So again, contact me if you need any help.